today I'm going to read you a story. Gaspar the Fox. Oxford reading gate level easy. Are you ready? Yeah. Gaspar's nose was cold and wet, but the air in his den smelled warm and sweet. It was early evening and still light. He'd been asleep all day and he was hungry. He leapt over the broken fence past the scruffy girders and crept cautiously out into the street. He wondered what he might see. The kind man with the bicycle. Gaspar wasn't frightened of him, like he was of some other people. On a well by an old pup was a lean, gray cat. It was licking its claws as if it was shivering at the memory of everything it had ever eaten. Lovely day, said Gaspar poetry. My, aren't you a handsome fellow? The cat observed, stretching out each paw in served. First the front, then the back. Your mother was clearly a vixen of good breeding. Gaspar blushed warmly, thought it was difficult to tell beyond the thick red fur. Thank you, he smiled. How did you tear your ear? Tear your ear, asked the cat. Oh, it's always been like this, answered Gaspar brightly. My mommy said it made me unique. Very distinctive, purred the cat. What are you called? I'm Gaspar, replied Gaspar. He liked saying his name. I have a French name, said the cat with interest, peering at him. You really are an uncommonly little fox. I am Peter. Peter, repeated Gaspar. Most of the cats I've met have silly names like Mimi or Tiger. Peter is a very prouder name for a cat, said Peter, and he flicked his tail to indicate he had nothing more to say about the matter. Well, nice to meet you, Peter. I'm going to for something to eat. Try the kennel, Peter offered helpfully. It's been a festival today. You might find a quiet feast along the towpath path. Gaspar's eyes winked. You could like to come? No thanks, said Peter. I had some flutes to play police before I came out. Gaspar looked blank. It's a fish, Peter explained, with delicious white flesh, quite delicious. Gaspar was impressed. I've never eaten fish, he admitted and thought. Made this his stomach giggled. Well, happy hunting, Gaspar. Peter sprang to his feet and disappeared over the wall. Gaspar rushed through the little park and down the canal. There were boats everywhere, brightly painted and decorated with flags. I was floating bookies, and people were drinking and chatting in little tables. Gaspar could hear music, and there were uniform smells all around. Warm, spicy smells and woody smoked smells. There were still quite a few people along the towpath, so he kept close to the wall and moved quickly. "Look, Fox!" shouted a woman, pointing her phone excitedly. Gaspar turned his head in the panic and ran straight into a bin. It was filled so of rubbishes that a bag toppled up, covering it in black ash. He sneezed and the woman took a picture. Gaspar was so dirty, he hardly looked like a fox at all. "Look, you totally don't look like a fox." And kind of a two dog? Now there's one more. He ran to the bridge when a group of people were watching a man dancing. Nobody seemed to notice of Gaspar now, so he sat for a moment. The dancing man wore a suit covered in a pearly white buttons, and his friend was squeezing a musical box that laughed out a tune. The man made a sudden hop, and a little dog with curly hair yelped and ran into the Gaspar. "Are you okay?" asked Gaspar. "Too many people," she barked, and gave him a puzzled sniff. "What sort of dog are you?" I'm Gaspar," he explained, trying not to lie. "Dogs and foxes aren't usually friends." "I'm Finty," replied the dog. "Are you hungry?" "Starving," said Gaspar. He lead him to the boat with lots of empty tables outside. "There were selling hot dogs this afternoon," said Finty excitedly. "We might find some tasty treats." "I've never met a dog without its humans before," said Gaspar. "Searching for scraps. That's because I escaped," said Finty. "I've made a hole in the back of my kennel. My owner thinks I'm there. I do it when she's watching, so I can have adventures." Gaspar found the last sausage, but before he could eat it, the table above him lifted off the ground. The owner of the hot dog boat was clearing away. "Oi, get out of it!" he shouted angrily. "Clear off!" Gaspar paused and jumped onto the boat. Finty barked at the boatman, who tried to kick her away with his big boot. Gaspar ran along the boat and leaped towards the towpath. But as he jumped, his paw caught a rope and tumbled. Splash! Straight into the canal. The water tasted oily, and his nose was covered in green weeds. Gaspar began to swim clumsily, gasping for air. Finty followed along the towpath, jumping and barking announcement. "You can do it! Come on, Gaspar!" The water began to follow very quickly. Locked gates were opening, and like dirty bath water gushing down the plug. It was forced. "Plop!" shouted the other side, where Finty was waiting. She stared at him. He scrambled and shook off the dirty water to refill. "He's shiny, wet, red, Or, you're not a dog, you're a frog, she said in astonishment. Gaspard was worried that she might pushed him back into the water. That's so cool, said Finty, her eyes gleaming and her tail wigging. I'm friends with a real fox. Friends, said Gaspard, and he felt warm again, forgetting how wet and hungry he was. I have to get back, said Finty, but let's have another adventure tomorrow. I'd like that very much, called Gaspard, but Finty was already out of the sight. Gaspard had made a new friend, perhaps two, he thought as he spotted Peter on a bench across the road. Peter was trying to catch a butterfly. When he saw Gaspard, he quickly made himself look very delighted. Hello, Peter, what are you up to? Lepidoptery? Peter answered grumpily. It means the culmination of butterflies. It's a hobby for mine. You must use big woods, said Gaspard with a smile, and listened to a lot of the radio for, explained Peter as they leaped out to join him. Come on, you can walk me home. Gaspar told Peter all about the call and meeting Finty. Peter sniffed. Dogs can be exhausted and stepped. Not Finty, protested Gaspar. She's good at escaping and everything. Then you must bring her to me another day. This is my house, Peter said. Stop outside. And enormous. The house was big and stone steps. Look at this little housey. At the moment, the door opened and a woman with bright spotty boots called down to them. Come in, Fluffy. Peter's fur bristled. Fluffy? Asked Gaspar. I thought you said your name was. Peter hissed. If you say another word, I will never speak to you again. With a flick of his tail, he bound up the spats and rubbed himself around the lady's boots, purring loudly. What were you doing with that grubby fox? Gaspard, hear her. You don't know where he's been. Peter winked, and she closed the door. Click, click, whirring. Okay. Gaspard's ears pricked up. He turned and saw the kind man on a bicycle returning from work. The man gave a shout, ting on his bell, and stopped outside the block of the flats. He turned for the little fox. Hello there, friend, he said, and he unclipped and twisted parts of the bicycle so that the bloody just bigger than one its the wheels. Gaspard loved to watch him do that. A window opened above, and another man looked at us, smiling. Hello, Foxy. What have you been up today? Chasing squirrels, probably, answered the man with the bicycle, lifting it through the doorway. A packet full of fell off ground with a soggy squirt, spilling its warm counts onto the floor bed. Ow, said the man. Look at the Gaspard. Well, it's yours now, friend. Lycan closed the door with a clunk. Gaspar watched as a light came at the top of the stairs and he heard the two men laughing. It was getting dark. He sniffed around. Fish and chips. Peter would be impressed. The, the, the grader it gently in his mouth and toed it around to the back of the plates, past the scruffle great gurges under the broke fence, and down into it. His den was enjoy first fish supper. In one exciting evening, he had made 2 new friends. He was happy, his stomach full, and the future felt bristling with adventures. I really like Gaspar.